Coming up on Chicago Bears Now, we have a new report that suggests that the Bears are leaning toward trading Justin Fields and drafting Caleb Williams. The rumors around the quarterback position are heating up, and we got you covered. My name is Harrison Graham. We're going to dive into all of that. But first, help us out. Hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and the next milestone is 86,000. So we're just over 500 away. Sub for daily Bears videos. It is 100% free. Please support by smashing that sub button. And hey, today's video isn't the only thing we're doing today. In just a couple of hours, we're going to be live here on the channel for a Lions-Bucks watch party. You're not going to want to miss out. We're going to see if the NFC North crashes out of the playoffs after Green Bay lost last night. We'll be live at 1:30 for a 2 o'clock Central kickoff time, so we'll see you in a couple of hours as well. But coming up next, let's talk quarterbacks. Another report has dropped that the Bears are leaning toward drafting Caleb Williams and, of course, trading Justin Fields. We'll get to the Williams deep dive here in a second. But Benjamin Allbright, who he could be a little bit hit and miss. Here's what he had to say. This is the Williams part of it. I'm going to dive deeper into him in a little bit. He says, I think they'll draft Caleb Williams. They'll trade Justin Fields and draft Caleb Williams. I know there are people out there that say they are going to hang on to Justin Fields. Everyone unanimously that I've talked to believes they are trading Fields. Generally, when that happens, when I don't have a single person who believes they are keeping him, generally that means they are moving him. So what he's saying is when he has reported on stories in the past and he's hearing the same thing from multiple sources, that's typically what comes to fruition. Now look, this report aside, because one report here, one report there, whatever, there's been a lot of them now that have suggested this. I do think there is real momentum for the Bears to trade Justin Fields, move on from him, and drafting the USC quarterback Caleb Williams. Every mock draft pretty much goes in that direction. Lots of insiders have suggested that. Lots have kind of interpreted based on the news cycle that that's where they are leaning toward. Now, I don't know if Ryan Poles has made a final decision, but you got to think he's leaning one way or the other, especially with this offensive coordinator hire that he is set to make sometime soon. So keep that thing in mind as well. Now, these are some reasons, in my opinion, to trade Justin Fields. Number one, his trade value likely won't increase. Like, say you bring him back and he balls out next year. Sure, the trade value is higher, but you're just keeping him at that point, right? So in terms of, like, if you're going to trade him because you want to move on in a different direction, it probably won't get higher than right now, because let's say he has another up and down season, then he's got maybe 1 year left in his rookie deal. If you picked up the fifth-year option, the value isn't nearly as high next offseason. He's entering year 4 of his rookie deal. Again, the timeline of this, like, you could trade him now. A team could be interested in picking up that fifth-year option, so that team has 2 years. Again, it kind of maximizes the window here. And then, of course, for a second straight year, you have the number 1 pick, and you have the opportunity to draft a quarterback at the top of this NFL draft. And Caleb Williams is a pretty damn good prospect, if you ask me. Now, to be clear, I have not made my final quarterback decision. I'm waiting to see who they hire as offensive coordinator. I promise you guys I would give you my final answer, and I will. But I have not done that yet. I still see benefits to both sides. But I do think you have to look at this and say, look, I like Justin a lot. I think I've gone to bat for this guy as much as anybody. You ask anybody, any of my coworkers, how I feel about Justin Fields, they'll probably tell you I like him too much, if I'm being completely honest. But you look at these numbers, and yes, it has not been great around him, especially his first 2 years, but it was better around him this year, albeit not great. Luke Getsy's a bum. We know that. Blame aside, these numbers just have to be better. And I'm not – I think with the style that Justin plays with, you don't have to be super raw numbers guy, but it's got to be higher than 61% completion. You got to be hitting 3,000 yards passing, and I know he missed games, and I'm sure I'll get hit with that. Well, he missed 4 games. Well, that's part of it too. He's missed time in every single year. So, yes, I think there's an avenue to keeping Justin, trading the number 1 pick, getting a lot of capital for it, and being a playoff team next year. But does it make sense to go that route? Like, if you feel really strongly about one of these quarterback prospects, like I've said for weeks and months now, that's probably the direction you need to go in. So, again, I haven't given my final decision. I want to see what they do at offensive coordinator, but I do think Justin has to hold some accountability on why the offense and the passing game specifically has not been better. Would you trade Justin Fields? You're Ryan Poles. Put the GM cap on. Would you trade him? Type T for trade or K for keep. Let me know in the comment section down below. YouTube ad break coming up, and after that, we'll continue this conversation. Allbright continues when asked about Justin Fields' trade value. He said, everyone I've talked to said the absolute maximum the Bears would get is 2 second-rounders, and that's if somebody gets desperate and you get 2 teams in a bidding war. Most think it'll be a second and a fourth or a second and a fifth. You kind of look at this good and bad. I actually think it's pretty positive. Like, if this report's accurate, at minimum, you're starting with the second-round pick. And I've said that all along. If you trade him, it has to start with the 2. Like, that's the minimum. Like, if you're only getting a 3 and something else, even if you draft a quarterback, I'd almost, consider keeping him because I just think there's more value there. Like, if you get a 2 and a 3, a 2 and a 4, like, yeah, it'd be awesome to get a first from a team like Pittsburgh who's picking at number 20. But if you're getting a second and more and you've decided as a franchise that you're moving on, then that's not bad, right? Like, you don't have a second-round pick in this year's draft. You would get to add one in that scenario. So if you are trading Justin Fields, to me, it's got to be at least a second-round pick. All right, we are sponsored by Prize Picks here on today's show. We appreciate Prize Picks Daily Fantasy made easy. I've been crushing it during the playoffs, cashing in on these entries, and you can as well. 2 more playoff games today. Sign up today, create an account at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. I did a little 3-player entry, 2 demon picks, which kind of boosts the value. It's harder to hit, but you can get more out of it. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown to find the end zone today on a rusher reception, likely a catch, obviously. So give me a touchdown for him. Mike Evans has been good all year. I think he hits 75 or more receiving yards. And then David Montgomery, Demon, 79.5 rushing yards. He's going to get a lot of carries. I think he hits 80+. Usually 3-player entries are 5 times your money, so 10 to win 50. In this case, it's 10 to win 105, more than 10 times your money on this entry. I love this pick today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for that deposit match up to $100 when you sign up. Link is in the comments and in the description. Now, when you look across the NFL landscape, like, who makes sense for Justin Fields? I think these 3 teams stand out more than any other. The Atlanta Falcons, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Pittsburgh Steelers. You go through each team. Atlanta, I think if Justin Fields was their quarterback this year, they would have won the NFC South. So that's obvious. Now, if Bill Belichick's their head coach, I'm not sure that's a fit, so we'll see what happens there. I think the Raiders make a ton of sense, especially if they keep Champ Kelly as their GM. They have not finalized that, but he, of course, helped the Bears draft him. Aiden O'Connell was a disaster. That defense is pretty good. If they get at least a solid starting quarterback, and I think Justin Fields is that, then I think that helps them out a lot. Pittsburgh Steelers. Could you get the 20th pick from them? And let me ask you this, too. You get 20 from them, even if you have to flip back like a 4th, I might consider that. You may not get a 1 straight up for Fields, but if you're moving like a 4th to get their 1, then that's interesting as well. I think these other 5 teams maybe could be interested. New England Patriots at 3. If they go Marvin Harrison there, maybe they consider trading their second-round pick for Fields. I think it's 34 overall. New York Giants, maybe, with that Daniel Jones contract, that's probably unlikely, but I think Fields could help them out. Denver Broncos, I don't think they'll go in that direction. He doesn't seem like a Sean Payton type of quarterback. New York Jets, this one's interesting because what if Rodgers plays 1 more year, Fields can take a step back, learn from him, and then he takes over in 25. I know Rodgers has said he plans to play multiple years, but that could be an interesting scenario. And then I think Seattle is a possibility, depending on how they view Geno Smith moving forward, how they view these draft quarterbacks. So 8 teams that I think could make sense. I think those top 3 of Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and Vegas, though, are the 3 that really stand out. So we'll see what happens. But, again, more reports of the Williams interest, trading Fields. I don't think the decision is final. Ryan Poles has said we got to get to know the person, talking about Caleb Williams. They might meet him at the Combine and say, oh, my God, this kid can't lead our franchise. So don't think anything's set in stone, but you got to think they're at least leaning one direction or another heading into, the Combine here next month. All right, coming up soon, by the way, on the channel, we're going to be live tomorrow, so we might do this tomorrow as one of our segments, Justin Fields trade ideas, kind of explore what that value could be for certain teams. So stay tuned for that. We'll dive into that probably on tomorrow's live show. But let's get to the second part of today's show. Caleb Williams. Obviously, if you trade Justin Fields, you're drafting a quarterback, and The heavy favorite for that right now is Caleb Williams. And look, virtually every NFL insider at this point believes that the Bears are going to do this. They're going to trade Fields and draft Williams number 1. And I do want to revisit this Schefter tweet talking about the Bears interviewing Kliff Kingsbury. Like, we already know that. That's not new news. But I think the last sentence of this is significant. Kingsbury's USC quarterback Caleb Williams is expected to receive strong consideration to become the Bears' number 1 overall pick. Typically, when Schefter, Rappaport, Pelissero, when they add these like unnecessary sentences, that's like based on something they've heard, right? Like, Schefter isn't throwing his opinion in there like, oh, the Bears, they'd be dumb to not consider that. Like, he's throwing that in there almost certainly based on what he's hearing. Like, that last sentence is telling me, like, hey, they're heavily considering. That probably means he's heard from someone in or around the organization like, hey, if the kid checks out off the field, there's a very good chance they're going to draft him. That's how I interpret that. Now, I could be wrong, but typically these insiders are very calculated with their tweets if you really, really pay attention. And look, we've talked about Caleb Williams a ton. We'll continue to. I mean, I think there's still, 95 days until the NFL draft. I mean, a lot's going to happen between now and then. But there's a reason people say it's the best QB prospect since Andrew Luck or at least Trevor Lawrence. Like, he is very highly touted. And, yeah, the second half of this season didn't go, magically the way he probably hoped it did and the way NFL scouts probably hoped it did. But there's 2.5 years of pretty damn good tape on this kid. He's got all the tools. Yeah, he might be 6'1". He may not be, 6'4", 225 like a Drake May. But the reasons to draft him, there are reasons there. You reset the QB contract clock. He is one of the top prospects of the last decade at the position. We've talked about the arm talent. He can throw it deep. He can rip it. Different arm angles. There's nothing he can't do throwing the football. And, yeah, he's not Justin Fields as a runner, but he's dual threat. He can move. And a lot of the time when he moves to throw, whereas Justin improved at that this year, but a lot of the time he's looking to take off. Keeping his eyes downfield and making plays is something he's really, really good at as well. And ask yourself this question, and this is not the anti-Justin Fields show. I've never been that. I'm not going to be that. I think you can win with Fields. I think the Bears have heavily screwed up how they've handled him since they drafted him. But the numbers are the numbers, especially from a passing standpoint. Do you think Caleb Williams can top Justin Fields' productivity as a passer next year? 2,600 passing yards. Yeah, he missed 4 games. Hell, let's say 3,000 flat. Let's be fair. I think he probably can. And if the answer to that is yes, then drafting him has to be heavily considered. Because, yeah, Williams isn't going to rush for 800 yards like Fields can, etc. But he could throw for 4,000 as a rookie. We just saw C.J. Stroud do it. So it's just something that you add all this up, and, like, it makes sense that all the reports are like, yep, they're probably going to draft a quarterback. So, again, I'll give my final answer on a video after they hire an offensive coordinator. But you do see the tea leaves. You do see why these reports are coming out and saying what they are. Do you want the Bears to draft Caleb Williams? Yay or nay? Type Y for yes and for no. What I would encourage you guys is, whether you want him or not, be open to it, because I do think if you put a gun to my head and said, what do you think is going to happen, I would probably predict that they will draft him at this point in time. Could that change? Yeah, but right now, that's probably what I would guess. Final thought here on today's show. Well, second to final thought, because some news just dropped. The offensive coordinator search has been pretty quiet for 72 hours. That Schefter tweet came out last Thursday. They interviewed Kingsbury Friday. We have not heard of any new requests, any new interviews, etc. So there's 9 candidates at this point in time. It doesn't seem like they're going to add any more. So does the longer this go mean that Kliff Kubiak's the heavy favorite? Because he's still coaching. The 49ers are still in the playoffs. So I do wonder if, like, this drags into the middle of this next week, late next week, and there's no hire. Like, I don't know for sure, but doesn't that feel like it's probably the one guy who's still coaching compared to the rest of them? So keep that in mind. That certainly makes some sense. And Rolly, I'm going to need your help here. Remind me here. It sounds like we have the first defensive coordinator interview candidate coming up. This dropped right as we started filming this, so Rolly's going to pull this up behind the scenes here. I think Tom Pelissero had the note.
Yeah.
Go ahead and Take it away, Rolly.
Yeah, he tweeted out that Titans defensive pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach cornerbacks Chris Harris is going to interview for the Bears defensive coordinator job. A one-time Bears draft pick who became a highly respected player in Chicago, Harris also interviewed for the Jaguars defensive coordinator job this past week.
There you go, Chris Harris. A lot of you guys should be familiar with him. We'll dive deeper into him on a future video, but did want to mention that as we get out of here. And again, join us. We'll be live in less than 2 hours, 1:30 Central Time here on the channel. Bucks, Lions, watch party. We'll see what happens, see who goes to the NFC Championship.